Sure. I'm wondering if you could speak to use of glass in this film, through reflection and through the camera often peering from the outside in. I caught that several times and thought it made me feel something as a viewer. I'm wondering if you could maybe speak to that. Or
So the question is about the motif of glass and reflections, and the camera even often looking through glass at what's going on.
Yeah, it was something that made sense to me and to Ed in this sort of language of, the desiring subject and the object, who through much of the film is Carol. And that, this whole process of looking, but having things in the way of what you want to see, sort of foregrounds the act of looking itself and the yearning to see it and to possess it. When you don't show when there's no interruption, you don't really think about it. Where you assume that it's natural and it's not rooted in any choice that the director is making or that the characters are implicated in. So I think by revealing, always foregrounding that, it sort of reveals the original looker, which is the lens of the camera itself, And that's also played out not only in the act of love and looking and trying to decode the meaning of the person you're looking at, but the fact that she's also somebody who's learning how to, she said, I'm not comfortable taking pictures of people. In some ways, I feel like Carol becomes her first subject, human subject in her work. But in some ways, I feel like it's a way that she also can start to see herself as a subject in the world, sort of taking her place in the world, which she ends up doing by the film. And by then, she's on the other side of the glass, and Carol's the one looking at her through the window of the cab, or seeing her across the way in the hotel lobby.
Question I have my glasses.
I was wondering, forgive me if this is vague, but I was wondering if you discovered anything new about yourself as an artist and a director through the process of this film.
The question about whether Todd feels like he discovered anything about himself or his own process while making the film.
That I am a lesbian. I always have been. I think I really am. My boyfriend tells me I'm a lesbian. All my best friends are lesbians. When they heard that I never read The Price of Salt, they were really ashamed of me. Slap me around a little bit, No, I think, each time, I think, and I feel, and I see this in the people I work with who I admire so much, is that there is something that happens where you kind of sort of forget everything you know, and you kind of start from scratch, and there's an element of feeling like you've never done this before, almost, I mean, that's maybe a little over dramatic to say, but because of course you're relying on all kinds of instincts and knowledge and ways of putting together the image book that becomes a way of communicating with my creative departments, the DP and the designer and all, and then the actors participate in that as well. But I think there's always this sense that movies are you're conjuring something that doesn't exist in so many stages and keeps kind of coming into fruition in different ways. And you kind of have to keep being sort of brutal with yourself about each stage that unfolds, and letting go of the one before. So the script goes away at a certain point once you shot it, and your footage goes away once you start to cut it. And when people start to see your cut and you're hearing responses to it, it's really important to let go of your favorite thing that may or may not support the experience. So. Yeah, I think it's always this sort of rediscovery process each time.
I've got two more questions. I see one in the very back by the railing.
I want to know about Sarah Paulson. Did you cast her in, or was it important for her as an actress to be in the movie, or how?
Everybody hear the question? It's about Sarah Paulson, who plays Abby, an out actress playing this part, and how she came into the project and how she related that role.
Well, yeah, I cast Sarah, but it was, she's been, I've just been watching her work. I think the fact that she is an out actress was a great factor in the sense that she had a unique and personal understanding of this character. But I think she's an actress and she has incredible range, and I've seen her play so many different characters and double-headed characters. That's two characters at once. So she's so versatile, and I think that chameleon-like quality in her. I have to say, I will share that when Kate saw the first time she saw a cut of Carol, the one moment that made her cry was watching Sarah driving Therese home at night after Carol leaves them. And there's just something about Sarah's face in that scene when she looks back through the rearview mirror to Therese in the back. And I don't know, there's something registered to Kate about the unique pain, unique challenge of being a lesbian at this particular time in history and what that means and how hard that was. It just sort of seared through. I think, it obviously helps that I think it's always weird when actors watching their own performance for the first time, you kind of pull out of it. And this is the scene she wasn't in, and you witness being shot. But it's a beautiful moment. Sarah brings so much to the film with, such economy.
One, maybe right in the behind the railing, white.
How did you direct Kate Blanchett, or does she not even need?
It's a question heard around the world. Does Kate Blanchett even need direction? Or is she a divinity?
She directs all of us. Kate is like hardest on herself, basically, and sometimes you just have to say, "Come on, quick, ease up. It's working. What are you talking about? You're crazy." But she's so, the thing that's so uncanny to me when I watch this, and also I have this extraordinary and unique experience of working with Kate playing a character based on Bob Dylan of 1966 first, and then a character conjured up in a fever state by Patricia Highsmith second. Very few directors can claim that breadth of working with a male or a female actor. I just watched this performance, and I think what's so cunning and extraordinary and subtle about it is that she has to play both the sort of image of Carol and what Therese is falling in love with, which is something which is sort of impenetrable and mysterious and removed and distant, and you can't really hold it in your hands. And at the same time, she's playing this extremely complex and distressed woman who is not particularly happy in her life and is dealing with all these major issues. And be very mindful of where the camera is and what scene, what scene is asking what of her, what shot is asking what of her. And that means just playing all of these sort of relative distances from you and proximities to the viewer. And if that wasn't working, the film wouldn't work. And at the same time, Therese is playing, Rooney is playing Therese young and Therese old, because we're shooting out of sequence. And so they're both doing so much, I think, subtle layers of performance and determining different kinds of access with the viewer. That's really.
So as you head back into your lives and tell everyone you know about this movie, I consulted the paper of record today, which, as we know in the 21st century, is Twitter. And here's the bar you're going to have to hit. One person says, "I've told my friends to assume that when I sigh, I'm thinking about Carol. I'm sighing a lot." Somebody else said, "What if the Pope is really just here to see Carol at the New York Film Festival?" And another of my favorites, "I guess I'm like expected to spend the rest of this post-Carol day, like, doing things and not just crying? What a world. So that's where we need to pitch to be, okay? Thank you so much for being here. And I do want to repeat, even as the festival is wrapping up, I just want to make sure people know, I'm so proud of my renewal notices for Cinema Chicago. I keep them all. There are events like this that happen all through the year, so if you don't know about that organization or have not joined, do think about doing that, because it's such a privilege to be in a city that has these kinds of opportunities. So thank you to everybody who stayed.